this is an interesting, it's not funny, especially if you were a witch in the late Middle Ages, and you were having flames leaping around your ankles. But it's fascinating, the relationship between the witch hunts in the late Middle Ages and climate. During that period, there was somewhere between 30 and 40,000 supposed witches burned at this. Most of them were burned at the stake during that period. And in fact, it started in the 13th century. It started getting cold, and when it started getting cold, what happens? Crops fail, and the famine set in, and it was blamed on weather-causing witches. And in the 14th century, the Pope issued a papal bull that said, yes, there are weather-causing witches, and if you find them, you need to kill them. So it was like, basically, have at it, boys, and they did. And so there were lots of witches killed. And then the interesting thing, around 1500, it warmed up, and crops came back. So why did it warm up and the crops came back? No more witches. They killed all the witches. Right. Exactly. So they did a pretty good job. They killed all the witches, and we got, crops are back, and everybody's happy. And that lasted for about 40 decades, and then it really got cold. The temperatures really plunged into the depths of the Little Ice Age, and that's really when the really, really horrific witch hunts and killings went on. And here's a chart showing, they actually kept records of this. This is a chart of showing the number of witches per decade that were killed and the temperature. So actually the Vatican said, whenever you kill a witch, you got to let us know. And so they did. So they're actually pretty good records of this. I thought it was a fascinating relationship that just highlights how opposite of what we're being told, beware of heat, historically, this encapsulates just how bad it was. Because if you're going to be Emperor Ed, you want to be Emperor Ed in a warm period where you can feed your subjects, right? And he would be fat and happy and his subjects were good. If it's Emperor Ed in a cooling period, not so much. You can't feed your subjects, and they'll be coming after you with the pitchforks, and that's what we see. We see collapse of empires and distress. So again, it's just opposite of what we're being told. And I say that a lot, just opposite of what we're being told. So let's go into the climate apocalypse events. What I do is I live in the real world. And what I do is I say, what's happening today? And what we see, and that's what we're going to look at, what's going on today. We've had hundreds of years of warming. We've had 80 plus years of increased CO2. All these bad things that are happening, shouldn't we see some effect of that today? So that's what we're going to look at. What we look at from the alarmist perspective, and we hear in the media, aren't what's happening today. They're projections of what might happen 30, 50, or 80 years in the future based on failed climate models. And again, this is a chart here from John Christie. The blue and green at the bottom are actual temperatures. The red line are models, 100 different climate models that he ran, showing that the predicted temperature from the models over-predict warming by 2.5 to 3 times too much. So these are the models that they're using to tell you that these horrible things that are going to happen. It's important to separate rank speculation based on failed climate models from what's actually happening. Like I said, this was a search for the truth that led to this, and it was forest fires that gave me I had this aha moment, I call it a light bulb moment. When I looked at what's happening with forest fires compared to what they were telling us, I just said, oh my God, they're lying to us. They're just